Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. And since we just talked about Race with the Devil, dealing with satanic cults, we're going to talk about satanic witches in this one. And also a satanic cult, because that's what they are in this film. And the film we're going to talk about today is Spellbinder. Now, before we get into this, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Also, shameless plug as always for my TeePublic page. I will leave a link in the description box below. Also in the description box below will be all my links to my socials, Instagram, Twitter, and my Facebook page. Please go down and check those out. Go over and subscribe to those channels. I greatly would appreciate that. Now, this film came out September 23rd, or it escaped. We'll talk about the release strategy on this one. September 23rd of 1988. It's rated R. It's an hour and 39 minutes long. It's had a budget of $6 million, and upon release, or its escape into the world, it made $657,000 and some change. I first heard about this film, my first VHS purchases that I've ever had, which I've talked about before at nauseum on the channel, I'll go over them quick, were there was a video store going out of business in hometown Pennsylvania, and I went there and I bought Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot. And on the Halloween 4 VHS tape that I used to own, which I wish I still had, but I don't, and that's topic for another time, was a trailer for this film, Spellbinder, which in this film has Tim Daly from Wings, most notably, but he's been in other stuff, Basic, other stuff. Plays Jeff Mills. He is an attorney living in LA. Kelly Preston plays Miranda, R.I.P. to her. She passed away a few years ago. And Rick Rozovich is in this film as Derek. He is also a lawyer that works with Jeff at his firm. And this film starts off, we're introduced to our main character, Jeff. He's playing basketball with his friends. Rick Rozovich is there, and two other friends they all work together, but they're all friends outside of work. And Derek and Jeff are walking to Jeff's car, and they happen to notice this guy beating on who they think is his girlfriend. And she's calling for help, and Jeff and Derek go and step in, especially Jeff. And it's Miranda. Jeff takes her home. She's upset, visibly, obviously. And he quickly falls in love with her. But she's a little strange. She does some weird things, but Jeff is very smitten with this woman, and he's ready to propose at this point. So weird things start to happen. He starts getting weird phone calls from this group that Miranda was involved with saying, we want her back. He gets a visit at his office by this Mrs. White, which we'd find out later is Miranda's mother, in a visit from her to Jeff's office that goes haywire pretty quickly once Jeff won't give her what she wants. And pretty much we find out that Miranda was entangled in this cult. We also get some more information from this police lieutenant that Jeff goes to speak to a few times, and he is searching for this cult or anything to do with them. And pretty soon we get to the end of our film where Jeff and Derek are going to the beach because Miranda told him that they're going to do a sacrifice on New Year's Eve for the winter solstice or Christmas Eve. I don't remember. Sorry, I'm blanking on that. And he's going to save her, but when they get there, he finds out that he is the sacrifice, and Miranda is in on it, and so is Derek. And they plunge the dagger into his chest, cut out his heart. And right at the end of the film, we get a stinger where there's a new guy talking to Derek, Rick Rozovich's character, and the same thing's happening all over again. There's Miranda, the same guy playing his boyfriend, hitting on her, beating her, and she screams for help, and this guy with Derek goes over to intervene, and that's the end of Spellbinder. What to like about this film? Well, the cast is pretty damn good. I've always liked Tim Daly, even minus Scrubs when he shows up in movies like Basic and here. I've always enjoyed him. He has that everyman quality, and he also voices Superman in some of the cartoons. Kelly Preston is lovely here. She plays a great role here. And Rick Rozovich is always great when he popped up. He was in Terminator, he was in Top Gun, he was in this, and he did other things. I think he's retired now from acting. The tone of the movie, I think Janet Greek, who directed this film, and she directed some other stuff before this. She directed the Weird Al Yankovic video, Ricky. She also directed a movie, kind of like an exploitation film called The Ladies Club. It's about a female police officer who gets something bad happens to her, and then she gets this group of women together and they take revenge as vigilantes. I've never seen that film, but it sounds pretty interesting. That came out in '85. She did a lot of TV. St. Elsewhere, she did a bunch of episodes. Max Headroom, she did a couple episodes of that. And after this, a lot more TV work after this film. I think the tone, I think it's shot pretty nicely here. I like the way it's shot. The tone of it is, there's definitely a tone of dread throughout, mixed with a little bit of cheesiness. There is some cheese here, but I think it lands properly. Sometimes cheese comes off not very good depending on how the movie's going, but I think the cheese factor works here. The satanic witch stuff, I've always found that stuff fascinating, as I said in my Race with the Devil review, and it's definitely here, and it's the forefront of why the things are going on. They need a human sacrifice for their big ritual on the winter solstice, and Jeff ends up being that. And the twist is pretty good, although you can see it coming a mile away, but I just enjoy watching it unfold. This isn't the greatest movie. There's a lot of, even though it's only an hour and 39 minutes, there's some downtime. Jeff and Miranda definitely spend a lot of time together to get to know each other, which isn't a bad thing. And we even get to see Jeff's like secretary, who's like a surrogate mother to him, disapprove of Miranda. She thinks she's weird, and she caught Miranda in a lie. Jeff obviously covers for Miranda because he's totally in love with this woman. And, if he would have listened to her, he would have still been alive. Other than that, some of the supernatural stuff comes off pretty cool. The effects work come off pretty cool. There's a guy's head that catches on fire. It looks cool, but you can tell it's a dummy head because they linger on it. They try to cut away, but if you look at it closely, especially in high def, you can tell it's a dummy head. But it works here. At the end of the day, this isn't the greatest film, but it's a movie I've always enjoyed since I saw this back in the 90s. I remember renting this from the video store. This movie escaped. It was recut against the director's wishes, Janet Creek's wishes. I doubt that footage is even available, and if it is, it's buried somewhere. Who knows? So I don't know what the original intent was of this film, but there's a interview with one of the actors on this disc, and he says about how it was recut by the studio before it was released. And then it got a limited theatrical release. That's why it only made $657,000. So it kind of just escaped into the world. And there was a rumor years ago, it's still online, you can find it on IMDb. I have no basis if this is true or not, but I thought I would mention it because it's kind of funny and kind of fun to think about. This was hard to find for a long time, this movie. And now it is on YouTube. You can watch it for free, and this Blu-ray is still available online. This Blu-ray is from Kino Lorber. You still could get a Blu-ray copy of it, but for years it was hard to get. And there's a rumor out there, I don't know if this is true, that because Kelly Preston was in the Church of Scientology along with her husband John Travolta, that because of the nudity and the witchcraft in it, that they were trying to bury this film. I have no basis if that's true or not. I just thought that was a pretty funny rumor. Take it for what it is. It's definitely in the rumor mill. I can't find any place that tells me that's true at all, but it's kind of funny to think about. At the end of the day, this is if you've never seen this film, it's definitely an interesting watch. I'm not going to tell you it's going to knock your socks off, but if you're into like satanic cult movies, you could do a lot worse. At the end of the day, I would give Spellbinder a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for Spellbinder. Have you ever seen this movie or even heard of it, for Christ's sake? Because it's still pretty, you don't hear it just talked about a lot in horror circles. Leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back with some more reviews, but until next time, bye.